This is Harold Malden, aka my Papaw Harold. My Papaw Harold was the most humble, loving, hardworking, and caring soul that I think I've ever met. Through his career, his life as a family man, and his heart for service, my Papaw was able to solidify himself not only in the hearts of those that he came around, but also in his community. Harold Malden was born on July 22, 1941. His parents, James and Lorraine, raised Harold and 4 other of his siblings. Harold's childhood was a pleasant one. Harold's parents left early in the mornings, so Harold often skipped school to hang out with his friends. He would do normal kid things like ride a bike, but he would also do some troublesome activities. My Papaw Harold told me that he used to steal bubble gum from the convenience store because he didn't want to pay for it, basically. And he also told me that he started smoking at 10, and he would roll up his cigarettes in his sleeves because he thought it made him look cool. But he would also tell me about the time that he would stick firecrackers in Toad's mouse, and well, you can predict what happened. Like in his childhood, Harold was also a wild spirit in his teenage years. My Papaw Harold would go fishing with his mom and dad, often frequently, and he would bring his friends along like one would do. And one time when he was showing off and jumping over a campfire that they built, he caught his pants on fire and he had to jump in the water to put it out. It was also in his teenage years when Harold met my grandma Bonnie Silvers. He said that he knew from the moment that he met her that they were going to get married. My grandparents met at their church. I can remember my grandma telling me how mad that she would get whenever my Papaw wouldn't show up. The two were basically pretty much inseparable from that moment on. There was no one in the world that Harold loved more than my grandma Bonnie. After going steady for a while, Harold asked Bonnie to marry him. The two were 18 when they tied the knot. So my grandma had many health issues, a lot related to, she had pneumonia at birth. So I can remember the times where my grandma would feel so weak and she couldn't get out of bed. And my grandpa was such a humble servant that he would help her bathe, he would paint her toenails, and he would just overall make sure that she was okay. But my Papaw Harold really showed me what true love was and what it means to be with your partner through sickness and in health. Harold and Bonnie began building their family soon after they were married. The two ended up having 4 children, all girls. Yeah, my Papaw said he didn't mind having all girls and that being a father was his biggest accomplishment. He loved each of them dearly, and up until the day he passed, he loved them dearly. And I just know how much that he meant to each of my aunts. At the time of his passing, Harold had 12 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. Even with that many, Papaw Harold said that he loved all of them the same. My Papaw Harold is my hero. He's my biggest inspiration, and I really miss him dearly. I used to spend the nights and the weekends with him and my grandma Bonnie in their house, and whether it was helping him with a project, whether he was helping me with homework, eating powdered donuts in the morning like we usually did, or talking about our life, spending time with my Papaw Harold was always my favorite moment. Harold also owned Oral Hardware, a store that became a staple in Valley Station, Kentucky. Nearly everyone in the area remembers the red and black building filled with anything you can imagine. Everyone said that that store was like magic. You could be looking all over town for this one specific part or piece that you needed and no one else would have it, but my Papaw would. I could hear so many stories about how people would say that, oh, they needed this part, and they would come to my grandpa's store and he would reach up in a coffee container that he had and just pull it out and give it to him. So that store had such an impact on so many people, and that's just so heartwarming to hear those stories. After suffering from some kidney issues, Papaw Harold spent the last couple years of his life in a retirement home. While he was skeptical at first, he then began to become involved and make some friends. He was also goofing around with the nurses and staff. He still carried his bubbly, loving personality while he was there. While his last days were not what we envisioned, my Papaw Harold was in a place where he could be himself, even through the circumstances. Up until the day he passed away, my Papaw Harold got the most out of every experience, and he was still able to put a smile on everyone's faces. From birth until his passing, Harold Malden was an impactful member of both his family and his community. He was Valley Station through and through, but he was also the biggest and most inspiring part of my life. We miss you, Grandpa, and we love you, and we hope to carry your legacy on throughout the rest of our lives.